Welcome to RiftGuides' easy to play champion tier list. In this list, we'll be highlighting champions that are not only strong but also relatively simple to pilot, making them great choices for beginners or players who want to focus on other aspects of the game without worrying too much about mechanical skill. While these champions may not always be the best picks for high elo play, they can still be incredibly effective in the right hands and can provide a solid foundation for players looking to improve their skills and climb the ranks. So whether you're just starting out in WildRift or looking to expand your champion pool, be sure to check out our list and find the perfect champion for your playstyle. But before you hop into this, let's talk about our question of the day. Who is the most annoying champion to play against and why? Let me know in the comments below. And we have something special for you. There's a skin giveaway with random skins, and all you have to do is look in the description below and follow the links. Once you're there, you'll be told what you have to do, and then it's time for you to get free skins. Anyway, let's hop into the video now. First on our list for the Baron lane comes Garen, and Garen is one of those picks that's always solid and always yields the best results possible with the minimal skill invested. This champion is super easy to pilot, super easy to execute, and always a menace to face when it comes to WildRift. Any AD carry player will tell you stories about getting the Demacian Justice into their face with a bazillion true damage and just send it to the next game. Not only that, they just simply don't die, and if we talk about people in the lower elo or just climbing in general who are having trouble with mechanical execution, what about champions that are forgiving in terms of mistakes? Look at it from this perspective. If you are playing one of those highly rated high elo champions and you're committing to a mistake, then your game might just be over if the champion isn't forgiving in terms of mistakes. Because you'll never reach the point which you should have reached, unleashing the full potential of the champion, because you were too busy with other things along those lines. So why not play a champion that is easy to pilot, that allows you to focus on other aspects of the game, and then learning those aspects so you can slowly get to those other champions. Basically expanding your champion pool and learning the fundamentals. And that is one of those things that people just completely underestimate, and Garen is a great pick to do this. And this is our full tier list for the Baron lane. Next on the list comes the jungle role, and here we have Shen. Don't forget, it's all about champions that are easy to pilot and helpful for your team at the same time, so tankier champions for the jungle role will be substantially easier to pilot for you to climb rather than champions such as Lee Sin or other hyper carries. Also champions such as Rammus, Amumu, Nunu, all those champions that are literally just tanky as hell will make it easier for you to maneuver through the jungle and then getting into the game more easily. So from this perspective, you want your champion to be very upfront, very tanky, and easy to execute. If you look into this tier later on, you'll see that Evelynn is probably the hardest to execute champions in the highest tier of this list. But don't forget, as you're climbing, you'll face against a lot of people that have no idea what's happening around them, and if you're not visible, which Evelynn isn't, you'll have a great time. But for Shen, it's a similar principle. People completely underestimate the power of his ultimate, which means they'll go into fights disregarding the fact that the Shen can just join the fight. And then a 2v2 is just turned immediately into a 3v2 and your team is going to dominate the fight. Also, Shen is one of those tanky guys who have a great time facing off against opponents and still deal a lot of damage to enemy champions, especially if they're tanky, because the moment you draw your blade through them, they're in for a very bad time. And this is our full tier list for the jungle role. For the mid lane, we are unleashing an all-time classic with Ahri. Ahri's simple kit is just always a good thing as you look into the lower elo brackets. This champion features everything you want the beginner to have, but as you climb you'll realize that this champion isn't the best. But it features wave clear, catch potential, rotational potential, and basically everything you need a player to learn over the course of time. But What makes Ahri so great for beginners compared to that one? Ahri is super easy to maneuver. Her laning phase is okay in a sense of she's just able to push as previously mentioned, and her rotations are quite well because she has many dashes which will lead to enemies dying in front of you over and over and over again. But if there's something that you need to understand when it comes to Ahri, is that patience is key. Whenever you have the charm, it's mandatory that you understand that the enemy still has counterplay, so just throwing out your charm is not going to accomplish anything. But if you dash close, the enemy is more likely to just flash away, use a movement spell, and then afterwards you can use your charm to catch them off guard. Because most of them will eventually, they have to, use their mobility spell, because if you're too close, they're unable to dodge anyway, so the moment you dash close, most of them will just flash away. In addition to this, Ahri can also be played in multiple ways. She can be that kind of assassin that goes in and goes on for a pick, or she's patiently waiting and fishing for people with her charm. But yet again, don't forget, if you put your charm on cooldown, the enemy is less likely to be afraid of you and might punish you. But as the game goes on, just hitting one charm might end or just change the entire course of the game, because if you tag them with a charm, you best believe you will kill them. And this is our full tier list for the mid lane. Next on the list comes the Dragon lane, and here we have Brand. Yes, Brand is one of those picks who people always say, but what is he supposed to do in the Dragon lane? I'll tell you what he's supposed to do. When people struggle about positioning, punishing enemies, etc, 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 playing AD carry feels kinda weird, doesn't it? You really don't know what to do in a sense of when you put yourself in danger, and if you do, you just immediately die and then you end the game with like 6k damage dealt. I've seen so plenty of times, even in Grandmaster, Challenger, Immortal, anywhere. Because the primary issue for AD carries is just understanding their role in the game, where to be, how to trade, etc, 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 so you see a whole lot of things. To avoid these kind of things, people discovered for themselves that playing mages is just substantially easier and more impactful than anything else. A mage at 10% just does the same thing as an AD carry at 80% of the champion's potential. It's just far easier to have impact. So when it comes to Brand, all you have to do eventually is press all your buttons into the enemy team, and even if you happen to die, your job has been done. You deal a lot of damage and most likely kill 1 or 2 people just by existing, and then your team has an easy time of cleaning up. Just by looking at this from the point of numbers, it just makes it so much easier, because if you get to kill 2 people or put 5 people to 50%, it's more likely for your team to win than under any other circumstance, isn't it? And then how likely are you on an AD carry, for example, I don't know, Zeri, to perform to that level? I don't think it's realistic, and I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon unless you're a very, very high top rated player. Or you have a Lulu next to you that allows you to do any mistake you want, but that's a different story. So this is our full tier list for the Dragon lane. Last but surely not the least, we have the support role, and here we have the lowly fish Nami. Nami is an easy to play champion because yet again she features all those things you want from a support, and it's very easy to execute with her, at least on a fundamental level. Nami's laning phase features bullying and healing alike, which is very important for supports to understand and learn, and she has peel and engage, which is something a lot of supports usually lack. So you'll have all of those things combined in one champion, which allows you to understand each of those aspects more likely than hyper-focusing on a more complex champion. With this in mind, you can use those fundamentals from Nami and then use those on other champions to be familiar with them super fast because you've already picked those up from playing Nami. So, in lane with Nami, you want to poke out the enemy with quick trades and use your healing power to just beat them into submission. And once you're level 5, you can just combo them with your ultimate into your first ability, and then you probably have them killed already. Because avoiding this combo is near impossible unless the enemy team has flash or other mobility spells. So as long as you hit your ultimate into them, use your first ability into that, and then your second ability, you'll probably take 50% away of the enemy's HP bar, and then you're in a very good spot of just winning. And that's it for today's video. If you want to know more about WildRift, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and join in for the giveaway by the way, so click the links below. See you tomorrow.